Hello guys, and welcome to a brand new video, and this one is the update video about the game Anthem, and we're gonna talk about what Mark Darrah said, which is the executive producer of Anthem. And as always guys, if you like the video, you can leave a thumbs up, you can subscribe to the channel, and you can join our Discord down below. I will leave the link in the description. You can it's mainly CSGO and Rocket League, but you can post new stuff every day, and you can post cool stuff and meet new players. So without further ado guys, let's hop into the video. So guys, to start everything up, let's begin with this interesting question that the Peanut Gallery asked, in which he said, if I'm using a fire element to debuff a boss and my buddy is using ice element, do they cancel each other? And Ben Irving, which is also a developer in Anthem, replied by saying, yeah, we want it to be a really fun system that makes sense. So guys, this is a really interesting point that we should talk about, and I really think if they implement this feature in the game, then this will affect drastically how the player behaving and which skills or perks should they be using. And personally, I think this is really quite good and interesting. Next up guys, we have another interesting question by Leandro Gorfetti, if I said that right, which says, can we deconstruct weapons and use the parts for some other purpose? And Mark Darrah replied to that question by saying, yes. When I first read this guys, I was really confused. So basically you can deconstruct the weapons that you get in game to use them for other things, who knows, maybe you can craft them to get stronger weapons, or you can use them to improve your javelin in game. And personally guys, I think this feature in the game will make the gameplay and the customization part really interesting in my opinion. Next up is another interesting question which was asked by Maurice. And he asked, I was wondering if all items like gear, weapons and armor etc. are javelin specific, or are these some items that are universal and can be used on all javelins? And Mark Darrah responded to that question by saying, most of the weapons can be used by multiple javelins. And that's really a good feature in the game, which means that you don't have to play separate javelins and get weapons specific to each type, and that's really quite good. And then guys, we have another fantastic question by the Potato Man 123, and he asks, is the level of your freelancer saved to your game, console or PC or your account in Anthem? Which means when someone signs in another account, will the progress be the same? And Mark Darrah responded to the question by saying, it is stored centrally. So basically guys, whether you play it on PC, console or PS4 or any other console, you will always have the progress that you made in the game, and you will not lose what you've already unlocked, like weapons or gear or javelins or anything else. Another interesting question guys that we should look into by R1L24, which says, please respond, would Xbox players be able to cross-play with PC players? And Mark Darrah responded to the question by saying, not at launch. So he basically said no at launch of the game, but he didn't refuse the idea, and there will be a possibility in the future that PC players and Xbox players can play together in one server, which I found really interesting and cool. And then guys, we have another interesting question by John Dupe, which says, if you're in a raid and pick up some loot, can your mate pick up the same loot, or does it disappear after picking it up? And Mark Darrah responded to that by saying, all loot is instanced, so everyone gets to pick it up. So basically guys, if you defeated the boss and you got some amazing loot or drops from it, you don't have to race with each other, so you can get the loot first and you will be able to get the same thing together, which I find quite good. Next guys, we have a big detail of information that the developers of Anthem and Mark Darrah especially have revealed, and to summarize everything in a nutshell, we can say, first, it's been confirmed that Anthem will have hip shooting. Second, the developers of Anthem have confirmed that Anthem will have in-game achievements separated from the trophies and other achievements that you can get in-game. And third, Mark Darrah confirmed that at launch of the game, Anthem will have 4 javelins, but in the future they will be adding more different types of javelins as we proceed and play the game. After that guys, we have another interesting question by Scalanet, and he says, are there dialogue options in Anthem? And Mark Darrah responded to that by saying, yes, binary choices. And after that, XD Apple wanted to get further in the question, and he asked, what do you mean by that? And Mark Darrah further responded to that question by saying, 2 choices as opposite to more. So we can say from this guys that the player in Anthem will have many choices when it comes to dialogue, and that is also another interesting aspect in the game. And then guys, we have another question related to combat in Anthem, and WazR asked the question by saying, will there be any water enemies or underwater structures, worlds, and if at launch not, will there be anything in the future? And MARK DARRAH responded to that question by saying, there is underwater creatures and entrances, but there is no underwater combat. And then guys, continuing with the questions that are related to enemies in Anthem, Glitched Infinity asked, will certain enemies be using javelins as well? And MARK DARRAH responded to that by saying, yes, they are some of the toughest non-boss creatures to fight. So basically guys, what you can take from this is that the player in Anthem will be able to face monsters that have also javelins like him, and who knows, maybe they will have perks and skills like him, and they will be able to hover around the map. And I really think that will add a new view when it comes to the difficulty of the game, and it will make the gameplay more interesting because of the variety of the enemies that you will have to face. And then guys, we have another question related to enemies in Anthem, and this one is asked by Busy, and he asks, will the javelins have a scan system to identify objects for lore and enemies' weak points? And MARK DARRAH responded to that by saying, some creatures do have weak points, we will leave these to find on your own, and there will be lore to be found in the world as well. And I really like the answer of MARK DARRAH when it comes to the weak points of enemies in Anthem, because players won't just be using some kind of scan and then they will be using these weak points to defeat the enemy so easily. Instead, every player in Anthem will have to discover that on his own, and personally I found that quite good. And then guys, going to the customization part in Anthem, a question by Ryan Gervais, if I said that right, and he asked, will the jetpack be default or can you customize its flight effect? And MARK DARRAH responded to that by saying, not at launch, but super interested in doing this. And then guys, another question by Alex, and he says, is there character customization? And MARK DARRAH responded to that question by saying, yes, but we have focused on the javelin personalization more. And basically guys, what you can take from this is that you will be able to customize your character as you will be able to customize your javelin, and you will be able to customize both of them as you like, and this is quite good basically. And then guys, this question is for the people who like to show off their new cosmetics in the game, and Soft asked the question by saying, is there any players hub where you can see or interact with other players and to show off the new cosmetics that you will get in game basically? And MARK DARRAH responded by saying, there will not be a players hub at launch, but we will have several ways to show off your sweet javelins. And then guys, we have another questions which are related to the story of the game, and Ash Stargazer asked the question by saying, is it a possibility that romance will be added in the future updates or DLCs? And MARK DARRAH responded to the question by saying, it is a possibility, nothing currently planned. So basically guys, it is a possibility that romance can be added in the story of the game, but at this point, nothing is 100% planned, as MARK DARRAH said. And next up we have another question by Lancet Rose, and he asks, and let me rephrase, can we unlock different missions depending on the choices that we make in the story of the game? And MARK DARRAH responded by saying, you will not lock or unlock different missions based on story choices. So basically guys, everyone will have the same missions when it comes to the gameplay of Anthem, and the story of the game will not differentiate a player from another, which is quite good I find. And then lastly guys, the last question related to the story of the game by Andrew Bowen, and he asks, I noticed that the dialogue stuff we saw had a skip button. Was that just for testing or can conversations be skipped? And MARK DARRAH responded by saying, conversation in Tarsus can be skipped. Cutscenes in the shared world cannot. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this little update video about the game Anthem, and as always I will be dropping another video about the latest updates, and when they drop the Interceptor video I will be dropping that out. You should check that out when I do that. And if you like the video, you can leave a thumbs up, you can post a comment below and say what you think about this video, and you can join our Discord. I will leave the link in the description. And as always guys, for the next time, bye bye.